talk about everything, and you know this. One thing that I've been passionate about has changed my spirits in kinds of ways. And I've talked about it multiple times on this show, as well as other platforms I'm on and channels. And to be honest with you, it grows tedious and tiresome. Because what's supposed to be common sense and basic moral values is always ignored because people are just downright ignorant when it comes to things and stupid. And so what I'm trying to say is I look at the homeless situation as the fall of the United States of America. Why? Because when you think of a third world country, at least from my point of view, from my gen, we thought of homeless or next generation or whatever, third world countries, as people being in the streets begging for change, not being able to eat things, not being able to do any of the things we do here in the United States of America. But now you got so many states and so many people as homeless. It's sad. If you were to come from another country, and the story they usually spill is that this is the greatest country in the world, the most wealthiest country, so on and so forth. But yet you get here and there's more poverty-stricken people, and not just poor people, okay? It's not just like these are poor people that are in the streets, struggling to try to find a place to stay. These are people who choose to be in the street because of their drug addictions. And to the point that people will call them zombies or whatever the hell, that's not too far misleading because it's actually the truth. They look like the living dead. People who lost all kinds of body weight to where they look like a skeleton. People stopped in motion. The most ridiculous thing is they have no respect at all, self-respect, because they piss and just defecate everywhere. You have sexual lewd acts in public, rob things and so forth. The thing about it is, and that's not even something to say so forth, because they're robbing convenience stores, they're robbing all these businesses, going outside doing the most craziest thing, and yet they're like to pretend that they're the victim. They're the ones that sit there and go, oh, they're doing this to me, but you're literally destroying things on purpose. I've been told many stories that actually happened, that I've encountered, and the thing about it is, each one, when I sit and think about it, is the fact that the people, regular citizens of the city, that have jobs, have a home to go to, have things, have sat there and turned a blind eye to things, and just ignore it. And that's bad. It's like, okay, we're helping these people, by, government or whatever, local government is helping these people, so, we gotta, let them get away with stuff. Or I don't even know what the thinking is in the world when it comes to this situation, but it's really asinine, okay? I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, okay? To go on a public city transit or a bus or whatever, and to have an individual get up, rip the seat off of the damn thing first off, and spit at somebody, or punch somebody, or sit there and smoke their dope in the damn bus or train, and just smell like the living shit because they went to the bathroom and God knows how long, is the most ridiculous thing ever. You should not allow these people to be on these things at all if they can't keep themselves under control. Who doesn't want to yell out and scream and stuff? These people do it so much, and it's like, okay, oh well, And then, I have to say, I didn't yell at a woman on a train. Let's put it that way. It's kind of like a subway in some of you guys' states. But it's the max here in Portland. It's like above ground. And it's just like a transit train, whatever. But this girl was screaming and hollering and carrying on and making all this damn noise. And I got off work, I'm seriously tired. I just started yelling that back at her or whatever. And I let everyone else know that they're stupid because they're not doing anything. They just act like it's casual. A woman screaming so high pitched that it could break glass. Okay, then why the hell ignore that shit? There's nothing to justify a person acting childish or just damn right rude. You know, where's the sense of that? You know, how are you supposed to humble, you know, yourself as that type of individual when you do these things on purpose to bother people? This is not a game. That means your life is a game, but you putting other people's lives at risk. Now you say, okay, how is she putting people's lives at risk? I mean, come on. Okay, it's not just her, it's every other homeless person that chooses to go to a job. And here's the problem where I can relate with the police. You can go to a job and you're working and you know you're doing your job. All of a sudden the homeless person comes over, they start breaking things or they decide they're going to start, you know, graffitiing the place up and getting high and stuff. So you want to chase out the people that works there. You don't work there. You're just hanging out there. You shouldn't even be hanging out there because most places don't allow loitering. You know what I'm saying? Or private property to begin with. But here's where I said that cops make sense. With my type of job, I do like security type of thing. So it's like, and this is the thing that bothers me the most about it. It's like, all you gotta do is tell people, this is private property. Can you please leave? You're not allowed here. But when it comes to the homeless and the drug addicted homeless, the first thing comes to mind, why? Why should I have to go anywhere? Why? Isn't that so? Then it's like this whole weird ass debate. Half of the shit is caused by the woke movement, where they want to act like they're being oppressed, that they're a victim. You're not a victim. You chose the lifestyle that you live. Just like everyone else chooses the lifestyle that they live. But the thing about it is the lifestyle you live is being a burden to society. And if you're being a burden, then why should I have mercy for you if you can't have respect for yourself or anyone else around you? And that's why I'm saying, like, I sat there and told somebody multiple times, let's go. Now, you're going to try to convince me your story and all this crap. All of it doesn't matter if the rule is you're on private property and you need to leave. Bottom line. There's no way to sugarcoat it, no way to twist it about, try to make it sound like it's something it's not, or that's going to change my mind, make me feel all mushy and guilty, have some kind of sympathy for you. That's not the way it's supposed to be. The way it's supposed to be is, this is private property, you gotta go. Plain and simple. There should be no other, explanation for that. And the same thing with the cops, they feel the same way probably. It's like, oh my God, because I had to deal with a situation just, 4 or 5 days ago, where an individual obviously knew they was messing up. The woman, they're doing something, they're tweaking, and messing with a damn pop machine. Next thing you know, they go hide in some plastic underneath some construction. You make it, those little walls and whatever those high-rise things or whatever you call those things, like catwalk things. I don't know what you mean, but or how to say it. I don't know how to say it. But anyway, you put plastic around it, whatever, and you go in there and you act like you're a little kid, like you done built the fort, and you just act like you know what's happening. Like you can just sit there. It's private property. You gotta leave. Well, I'm a guest. A guest to who? There's no one with you. You have to go. And that's the thing that doesn't make any sense. Why do you think you're entitled to sit under a bunch of construction crap like at your home? You know what I'm saying? When something can literally kill you, if it falls the wrong way, that makes you an ignorant individual. And I'm not just talking about this one individual. Because then it became something like, oh, I'm a victim, my legs hurt, and this and that, I can't get up. You put yourself in there. Let's not play. You're not 5 years old. You look like you're 60, 70 years old almost, getting there, because drugs is tearing your body up. It's plain and simple. You don't look like what you was, or what you could be. So it's like, why waste our time trying to cater to people who don't care about themselves? Now you're saying, okay, this is where the moral issue comes in. You're saying, well, it's not morally right, they need help. Do that? They need help. How come practically all drug rehab places have disappeared? Literally disappeared. Some cities they don't even have any. So it's like, why did these places disappear? What happened to recovery for these people? And on top of that, what happened to prison and jail time? If a person's on drugs and they're in the streets, and I guess they call it open drug market on the news. They say it's an open drug market. Well, it was an open drug market, and you're seeing them smoking crap and everywhere, children and stuff, which used to be a thing where you get arrested. Now they just do it anywhere. They don't care. They'll find a way to make it look like they ain't doing it when they actually are. And it doesn't make any sense at all why they get away with it. Then if there's a young guy on drugs or a young girl on drugs, those situations messed up. For the person that could actually be homeless because they lost their homes. Now it's understandable with the way our economy is. Our rent gets raised up every year. Minimum wage is garbage. Someone will lose their job and eventually be homeless. The thing about it is, how many people are actually out there because of that situation? And how many are out there because they chose to be out there and want to be doing drugs? They want to go to the shelter, because the shelter has rules of not doing drugs, not doing a whole bunch of nonsense. You got to go for a job, you got to do this, all the stuff a normal person would try to do. They're trying to get themselves back on their feet. But yet they're preoccupied. And then here's the thing with the homeless shelters. It isn't just homeless people. It's people who were incarcerated. Yeah, they have places for people that's incarcerated, like certain halfway houses. But when it comes to the other ones, because the thing, the halfway houses ones, for people who were incarcerated, are mostly people who were gang affiliated. So the gang affiliated people go to the halfway house for a drug addict or a person who might have, had some kind of domestic violence thing or any kind of thing, robbery or whatever. They'll go directly to the halfway house because they're gang banging. While other people go to the shelter if they don't got a place to go or something like that. You know what I mean? But most people, they cling to their girlfriend or a family member and go stay with them. But me, honestly, I believe if you're a man and you got a job, there's the only reason why I can say men, and this probably won't be offensive to no one, because men go to jail more than women, and women are half the reason why they go to jail. So, let's just be honest. Women have no idea what prison life or jail life is like. And if they did, they wouldn't be quick to send somebody they supposedly love to jail. And that's just the honest truth about it. But I think a lot of women deserve prison and jail time because of some of the things they do and the things that they accept as right nowadays. But that brings a whole total different issue besides what I'm trying to say. So let me get back to what I'm talking about before I get sidetracked again. So these shelters have a place for homeless people, regular people that's just homeless because they fell in hard times, and those that were in prison who don't qualify for halfway house because they're not a gangbanger or a dope dealer. I think that type of thing happens too. We know those guys usually end up in rehab because they'll say, one way a drug dealer finds his way out of prison faster or do stuff is they'll say they're on drugs themselves. And they're able to go through treatment and, whatever, and they're back on the street and they're selling drugs again. But the thing is, they'll play like they've been on, the crap forever, even though there's the old record, FBI, RICO Act, whatever, stating that they're actually the ones doing drugs or selling drugs. So it's a thing, and you can see most people, whoever watches this, they're going to leave hate comments. But honestly, I've been in the city long enough. I've seen crap. I'm trying to be friends with people that no one needs to be friends with, and I've seen a lot of hell. And the cool part is I still stay myself. One thing different is I smoke cigarettes. It just drives me nuts. And I don't drink no more. So that's probably a way different concept for me. I used to drink a lot. But my point is, it comes a place to where these shelters are qualified to even be open. Because if you have homeless people, stellar numbers in the streets, and none of them are getting housed, and none of them are trying to obey the law of the city itself, as well as defecating and doing all this crap, then honestly, these shelters are a scam, a big fraud. And why they're a big fraud is half of it, you gotta think about it like this. They'll go in there, they want your social security number, they want your ID. Okay? They want that stuff first off. So, they can get a tax write-off or whatever. guys are staying there. And it's honest God true. I don't know if that burp sounded loud on this. But anyway, so that's the honest God truth. And then the second part of it is they want people to get up and do things, but then it becomes more like prison itself, where they get up, they got to clean up every morning. Then you let the ones in that get the most outrageous garbage and stuff. And here's the thing: some of these people are so quick to get from the street to the shelter, and they'll stay in their shelter for how long, who knows how long it will be, and then they end up right back in the streets. And so they'll stay in the streets for however long, and you return right back to the shelter. So it becomes an ongoing thing of them going from the streets to the shelter, from the streets to the shelter. And it never really, it's the endless cycle of them returning. So some shelters are used to that type of individuals. The problem with it is, it becomes a burden for those who are actually trying to move forward in their life, who don't like to return to the streets, or never have been in the streets, but just happen to be down on their luck. So it's a bad situation. It's very critical how an individual's life can change drastically just based off other human contact. With that being said, let's talk about the major moral issue of seeing poverty everywhere. Okay, as a normal citizen, I'm not talking about homeless people, I'm talking about a normal citizen. Well, I am talking about homeless people. But in the system, what I'm saying is, so a homeless person is out there, they're doing drugs, they're looking dirty. I mean, they're doing crazy crap to wash up, maybe rainwater. There was some video of some guy using his own piss to clean himself, which is outrageous, but it happened. And so the thing what I'm coming to is like this: you're a normal person and you're seeing this behavior everywhere. Now, like I said, in one way, a country is corrupt. And this is what I'm saying about foreigners coming to America. You have to think this place is corrupt. If you see tons of homeless people running around, and not the wealth that you were told this country has, and the pride it could have, and the strength it could have, but yet the people are divided. There's too much hatred. I mean, literally, there's no humor anymore. I mean, there used to be things where people would laugh. The woke movement pretty much killed everything. It's the most ridiculous moment in time. Okay, I'm not trying to offend everybody, but to me, it's the most ridiculous moment in time. I've never seen a thing where people have to think a certain way to please other people. I don't want to think the way you think. I want to do what the hell I want to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to, accept anything that doesn't seem natural to me. I want to fight for something that's worthless cause. That's both physically and mentally. Physically, not fighting a fight that ain't worth my time. Fight for what I believe in, fight for what I stand for, fight for what I know is right. All the other crap, the hell with that. I don't know what delusional wizard came around and started brainwashing people, and what the benefits was they was getting from believing in that individual. It's more cultish than anything. It's more like a government cult, the woke movement is, for, Democrats. But at the same time, the Republicans, I was going to be honest with you, there's no point in believing in both Democrats and Republicans. You can sit there and say, oh, the president's doing good, this president's going to work. I don't care if it's Trump, Biden, or whoever. And you say, oh, this president's doing good. Have you seen what he did to the economy? Have you seen what he did when it came to getting rid of the free trade agreement or whatever crap, okay? You can say that, right? But then it comes to this point. Look around. There's homeless people everywhere, trash everywhere. Your bank can't keep money in it. You know what I'm saying? Your bills are sky high. All this crap. What have they done? What do they do? And why do you think that the president is a monarch to where he's a king that can control everything when you have three branches of the United States government? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what's going on here? Did I wake up on a planet where people don't pay attention to fine details or have good observational skills? This is the thing that doesn't make sense to me. By not looking around and noticing the flaws, the misery, the suffering, the negativity, the hatred, all this crap. By not noticing these things, you're letting doors open for bigger floodgates and bigger tragedies and chaos to open up anytime, anywhere, and it doesn't make any damn sense. We let the country turn into a cesspool. We let it turn into Sodom and Gomorrah. At the same time, I can't even say we because I don't even feel a part of that because I don't believe in all that bull crap. But another thing about it, what I'm saying is, Democrat, Republican, no matter, none of them has done their job. If you can go outside and see a guy screaming at the top of his lungs with his pants down, while there's some woman sitting over in a corner shooting a needle in her arm, then the goddamn presidents ain't did nothing. If you can't keep enough money in your bank account and you're about to lose something, whether it be a bill, like a light bill or a water bill or a car, payments are behind or whatever the hell it is, your medical bill is $7,000, $9,000, any of that, the president ain't doing their job. Okay? If you sitting back and you notice that everybody literally is trying to find ways to penny pinch, the president ain't doing their job. Okay? If you sitting back and your one bill, phone bill, is over freaking God knows how much, the president ain't doing his job because corporations should all be freaking targeted, taxed, cut down on prices, slashing prices like they say in that commercial. I'm slashing prices, everything must go. You gotta slash prices. All that crap gotta go. Seriously, all that nonsense of overcharging people and all over the place. And all these businesses and corporations, let's not even mention taxes. And you work your ass off like a Hebrew slave and you get nothing out of it. Okay? That means the president ain't doing his job. Look at this mic. I'm trying to do this type of cool thing. But yeah, so the main thing that makes society work is when we come together. We find a common ground, a solution to try to fix what's going on in our world, in our community, in our cities. But if you're sitting back and you hate Tom over here because he brought a riding lawnmower, and you hate this girl over here because her kids that do everything and she doesn't want to admit it, take ownership for it. You know what I mean? And then you got another guy over here blasts his music before he fixes his car, all day long, and you don't understand why he can't fucking clean up all his mechanic crap. Whatever. I'm just giving you scenarios of how people hate each other in the city. It is so many different ways, so many different concepts. You can go all day with this. The thing about it is, the one thing that shows everybody the city's run down, that people are miserable and sad and all that crap, is the fact that there's homeless people running around already, desolate or whatever, and don't care about cleaning up after themselves or anything, just changing their lives. To watch someone just walk down the street and they're just doing drugs right in front of you and don't give a shit. Cops don't arrest them. Anything. And then here's the thing though, like I said about the burden part. It's a burden to people who actually are trying to live their life. Well, let's say there's somebody, for example, that's a drug recovery with the rehab and everything. Feel good about their lives. They can walk, let's say months. Their family and friends, everybody's happy that that person's back, the individual's back. They might bring up stories that might make them remember things and trigger them. They might feel bad about it, or they might be like, damn, maybe I should go back. Oh, you know what, the things are better. However it goes. But at the same time, they sit there and they walk down the street and they catch these people doing drugs, this and that. They see another person they used to know when they was on the drugs, and they got some kind of sympathy card because they remember a moment that that individual doesn't. And then they're all jacked up all over again. The thing about it is, that's something no one needs to fit. To bring them right back down to where they fell before. And so that's one reason why you hide that type of stuff from people. You don't see that in these individuals do these things. But to let it go to the point of where, like they were saying in the news a year or two ago, they broke into the old mall and they were getting high all over the place and they're calling it the fentanyl market. It's crazy. It's nuts. And the honest to God truth is they're just enabling them. I can't make it sound any way better. It's enabling. It's not helping, is not trying to support or find a solution. It's enabling. I literally, since doing this podcast and my show on YouTube, several shows, I've constantly came up with ideas. I even sat back and looked up the old Homestead Act. I figured out the price ranges on how much land would cost and all this crap to put, build a place for homeless people. Literally, I don't think it's a city situation where the city has to say, oh, let's fix the homeless situation. I think it's a state situation. Because the state, these people travel all over the place. There's some that would travel from one place to another. We just learned last year about Grants Pass. Now Grants Pass didn't want them to sleep in public parks, but that's what they did. And that's because of places like Portland here, we live in Portland public parks and all that, and it's not good. But the thing is, it's a state situation. Why? Because the state owns the land. There's so much land. There's no way in hell these people should be preoccupied with cities. They should be making their own small towns, villas, I don't know, Sunnydale or whateverville, Smallville. I'm just making up names from shows, but still, it would make more sense than just say, okay, let's constantly try to find a way, and there's no solution within the city, and it's just in the city because of drug dealers there. What happens to the people that go find a drug dealer? Give them a nice, cozy spot somewhere out in a village or a town or some country area. Make the house look real nice. Go ahead, roll out there. All dope dealers and drug addicts will follow the drug dealer. I kind of like having a tongue twister here. I wasn't trying to say it that way, but this is honest God truth. Because honestly, let's be real. There's no real war on drugs. There's none. If there was, there would be a solution. The thing I'm talking about, we had a solution a long time ago. They used to say that in the 80s, 90s, there's a drug war on drugs. Where's that? It's still been going on. And it turned into whole different drugs. It turned into a venereal disease. It turned into all this crap. And yet these people get away with murder. And it just ain't right. My point is, it's a burden. It shows misery and suffering. If the people see all this crap, then the people are going to feel miserable. They're going to feel angry. They're going to feel sad and depressed because all they see is misery and suffering around them by looking at the homeless community and the drug addicted community. So it's like you're not making the people in the city feel positive and want to inspire them to do anything else in the city but to be a worthless something that you. And I'm just saying that I wouldn't try to say it that way, but it just makes perfect sense to roll off the tongue like that. Honestly, let's take it back to people working. The one that's suffering the most, I see, the one summer was MSTs or in the freaking ambulance people, I can't even speak, but the ambulance people, okay, because people were ODing all over the place, ODing about my job, ODing everywhere, and it's hot. My job is out. Found out about what the hell is that stuff called? Narcan. I had no idea what the hell a Narcan was. But it was so normal to everybody. Like, oh, Narcan, what the fuck is this? And I had to learn my own way why you got to keep it at the job and all this. And before that night, I actually helped to save somebody that was on the crap. And it was traumatizing because of a young woman. And it was like, whoa, young, man. Young. And the cold part, pregnant. Made me worse. And I was like, damn, what the hell is this stuff out there? And before that, I never really dealt with something like that. There's been stupid incidences where people, fell out or hit their noggin or some crap, and, just drag a body. But that's a different thing. And it's not as bad as what I'm saying. I don't know how I'm saying it. Anyway, it's just like, this situation is that's just straight evil. A woman that's pregnant and she's about to pass on because her husband or dude or whatever that knocked her up is enjoying the allowing the streets and trying to keep her stuck in that thing, which makes the next generation kid that pop out even more prone to so many different things. Could have genetic mutations or some kind of mental disorder. It's just not right. It's honestly, God, it's not right. It's morally wrong. why things need to be put to rest. And I believe it needs to stop. But back to what I was saying about the MTs or METs or however you call it, the freaking ambulance people, they working their ass off. This one sucker, they're working their ass off. And literally people were ODing, I'm telling you, on top of fires happening through the city. And half of those I think were constructed by city people, because one building inspector went in and 3 days later the building catches on fire. And it was a building where a lot of old people and all that. It was like a 70-year-old building. And people were on the news crying. Someone lost their cat, some crap. Someone died in there and all this. But just 3 days before, the inspector came through and was like, oh, this is like this and that, so forth, fire inspector. So our insurance adjuster, I don't know how you would say it, but either way it burnt, column flames, and it was done and over with. But it was a big tragedy in the news and stuff, so it's something to be really concerned about, that people will burn things. Half of them were mostly homeless people burning buildings, burnt the whole Korean church down, which was crazy. So I used to walk by that church all the time. It had the nice letters in Korean and all that stuff involved. And it was messed up, man. And it was like, but the whole point of it is just that you can't keep a place like that, where businesses shut down constantly, people dying on the street off of drugs, buildings being destroyed because some homeless person wanted to get high in a place that was abandoned. You know, the place can be abandoned for God knows how long. And once the homeless people find a way in, they're trashing it. They supposedly, from what I watched the news and I was doing the little clips on YouTube where I started doing my little me in the box and showing the videos, there was one where they went to a place that was like some kind of little clinic, and they went in there and they trashed the hell out of the place. Turds everywhere and stuff. Then there was the, I don't know what the name of the building's called now, but it used to be a Key Bank and some other stuff. They went in there and trashed that. They're living in there, and then on top of it, they started hanging outside, and then just selling fentanyl like it wasn't nothing in the whole corner. Then took over the little tiny corner store there on that block. You know, it's crazy. This is all downtown, though. And then it was like, they broke into the mall. Big mall just closed, I don't know how many months. And it's so weird because the year before it was just open. But they broke into it and they was walking around doing stuff in there. I mean, there is no place that is safe. No place. You know? And you would think there would be, but there's not. And so it's like my idea stands strong. Get some land. You get at least to get like 3.4 acres. Okay, and not like that, but like, you know, an acre is, so just for example, an acre is 100 yards. So if you had 3.4 or even, you know, 100 acre yards, or 100 acres, there's so many football fields put together, it makes no damn sense. And you'd be able to put your little town there, and be able to put mental facilities, medical facilities, have them learn how to do things the old ways, like butchering, textile mill, things that would actually help make money without trying to, because I mean honestly, people don't want to work. Let's just be real, no one wants to work. And, you know, they want to work for companies and stuff, and then these companies are so disrespectful. Let's be real, a lot of companies are disrespectful. You get that guy in there that thinks he's the boss, when he's not really the boss, he's just some asshole. And, you know, I'm just like, let's be real, people don't want to work. You know, some people don't even have the idea, like, maybe I'll work for a little while, stack this money, and invest it in something else that'll help me make more money. People don't want to work no more. We're not at a time period where they get paid very little, even when you got paid more. You know, they get paid more than someone back in the 1800s that was getting 2 cents to work all day. Okay? You're like, you're getting paid damn near $2,000 maybe. It still ain't enough. That's sad. That shows us some big flaws somewhere. Somewhere there's got to be a break. America's so great. Stop charging us so high on bills. America's so great. Give us enough money to be able to sit pretty. Buy a house, buy a car, instead of trying to be on mortgage. It's the difference with mortgage and buying a house straight outright. I should know because I bought a house straight outright. Pay $135 grand for a house, and then to pay a mortgage, and then to just talk to some asshole, just sign the papers, pay for it, and you pay taxes once a year on your property. That's it. Taxes never got up or went up unless you sell the house. You know? And so, I mean, honestly, there's ways to get around it, but things is, they have made it to where they're only worried about the wealthy. And the more you try to support them, the more crazy it is. And then you got to think about the time period too, what God's trying to tell you about the world. Let's look at these celebrities for a minute. With the underground tunnels. Hugh Jackman died in that underground tunnel for some secret society in his place. You don't believe me? Look it up. I'm telling you. It's like he was really Lex Luthor. And then it's like, you know, Puff Daddies and Diddies and P's and whatever the hell his name is. All them guys running around doing sexual lewd acts. Demented crap. You know, this is morbid. This is what rich people do when they're bored, is make weird things and people become objects to them to use and abuse in so many ways. The most sickening, asinine thing. You know what I mean? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Do something worthwhile with your money to actually, you know, help humanity. That's the problem. There's two people get money and want to show off or look fancy and cute and stuff. Like, I was trying to buy a car a little while back. Not even a little while back. 40-year change. I did that by a car. But the thing was, this stupid chick was going to tell me, oh, yeah, you're going to buy a BMW. I don't know why I don't need a BMW. Oh, BMW. She can't give me a reason why. Just, oh, you need to get money, you need to buy a BMW. What do I need a BMW for? I need a car to get around to do what I need to do. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I didn't give a damn about a BMW or something more costs more than what I could afford. You know what I mean? Even if I could afford it, why the hell do I want to put extra money into a damn car when I can put more money in something else I need to take care of, like a bill or something that entertainment, like a computer. I need a new computer. I need to upgrade. You know what I mean? So it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I just don't get it. Like, what's the big deal? Who you showing off for? Because half the people are already there trying to kiss your ass to begin with. But once all that shit's gone, they're gone with it. You know, there's several things in the world that doesn't last long. You know, friendships, for example, will go. Will come and go quicker than shit. Family, you know, family can stick around. I mean, there's family that will stick around and stay. Friends, no, they're gone. They come when they got something or they want something, unless they feel like they were loyal family members to you. And they'll stick around. But money, it comes and goes, unless you can actually find a way to generate more constantly. Okay? And that's the honest to God truth. If you can't constantly find a way to generate it, then it's gone. It ain't coming back. And if you can't find a way to manage it properly, shit. All them friends, all they're gonna do is take more money from you. Your girlfriend's even worse. She wants her cut as soon as she sleeps in the bed with you. Hey, you didn't have to do that. She'll walk through the damn front door and be like, hey, this is mine. Oh, I'm doing this. And no, you're not. You're gonna sit yourself down and make you think you was cute, but you ain't cute to me. You know? So, I mean, life is what you make it, people. Don't make the mistake of trying to please someone instead of trying to take care of yourself and please yourself. So when I'm mentioning that comment about the BMW, that's how I felt. It's like, that's nothing I want, that's what you want. You want a BMW. I ain't give a damn. I want my stuff American, make it afford. Or, you know what I'm saying, or make it Japanese. You know, give me something Japanese. Like a Hyundai, which is usually the type of car I get to Japan. So, or Mitsubishi. You know, but still, it's just the point of it is like, you don't want to please people. You're never going to be happy. And there's people who will sit there and they like a really tough guy or girl and do all this running their mouth soon as they're alone, oh, they break down. They break down. They fall. They don't know what's going down. They're screaming and panicking and all that. Well, why is this person talk to me? I'm a cold person because, I'm a good guy. Don't get me wrong, but I'm cold because I will cut people off and I don't give a damn. You don't exist to me. I'm not calling you. I'm not looking your way. I don't give two damns about you. I don't even explain the reason why I'm not going to talk to you. I just don't care. And literally, when I say I don't care, I don't care. If people want to keep me going, just leave me the hell alone. You know what I'm saying? It's just that simple. Just don't put up, don't tolerate nothing. And that's the problem with the whole concept that's happened over the past, I don't know, I want to say 10 years. I don't know how long this crap with the wokeness and the homeless and all this has been started. But I'm going to tell you, people don't tolerate a hell of a lot that they don't need to tolerate if you believe in moral values and what's right in the world and trying to live an honest life. You tolerate it way too much. I know I have. To be real, I have to sit here and listen to stuff that I don't believe in, and then you try to label me as believing in that. It's not my world. That's your world. You care about it. That's why you talk about it. So it doesn't make sense. Just like Disney and making crappy movies and saying, it's like the whole, that's another thing about this crap that makes no sense. Disney, you want to be all in the politics and make stuff that's supposed to be politically correct or, caring about what culture is in the movie or, sexual orientation and girls and all this crap. Just make something entertaining. What happened with just making like DuckTales or freaking, like Goof Troop or, Aladdin, that's basically Aladdin without freaking Will Smith. So it's like, I don't know, just make something normal. It's funny, entertainment. Just draw cartoons for kids again. Just make it was a kid's thing to begin with. They got too greedy and they spread themselves too thin. And that's why Disney's falling right now. It's just like Babylon. Babylon is the biggest country in the city in the world. And then it just got big and wider, started getting bigger. And then what happened? This whole thing with Nebuchadnezzar, the son of Nebuchadnezzar, which is actually, if you do the research through biblical text and study, you find out that he's actually the third or fourth, known as the fourth grandson, or something like that. Fourth generation of Nebuchadnezzar's family bloodline. And then there was like this hand of God that wrote on the wall that you will die tonight because they took the chalice of God, drunk out of it, and the Persians came in and killed them. But because they got too greedy, so greedy and bad, they could take something that belonged to God and drink out of it, whatever. So it's the same thing with Disney. They get all hyped up on the woke movement. They buy freaking Hulu. They buy Fox, which Fox was cool on its own. Fox made Married with Children and a whole bunch of cool stuff. So Fox was doing good. So plus Die Hard movies and stuff. Fox was cool. And then, it's just like this little crap to own every little film industry. And the cool thing about it is some Disney stuff just ain't cool. I'm sorry, there's some stuff I don't dig. I'm not even going to get into it because I'm not talking about entertainment that much, but I'm just trying to explain the brainwashing has to stop. No one cares. No one really cares. And you make some crap that doesn't make any sense. And it's not entertaining. And it's ridiculous. Let's go back to the days where you have one-man army movies where the guy just comes in and beat the living hell out of everybody. And you're like, oh wow, yeah, I can be that bad guy. And you come out the movie thinking, yeah, let a sucker mess with me. I'm going to take him down. You know what I'm saying? Or a comedy where you sit back and you just laugh like, what the hell, that's ridiculous. But you're busting up laughing, you got tears in your eyes. It's funny. And that's the thing that